Welcome to the Espresso Coffee Academy, and today we're going to be reviewing the Jura WE8. We're going to go now into a deep usage guide for the experienced advanced users, so have a look now. Looking at the screen, we're going to go into the advanced usage features. So on the front screen we have whatever we feel are four most popular drinks. So we have espresso, coffee, cappuccino and hot water. If I want to cycle through the screen, I literally just press my bottom right button and it takes me to the next screen, which is ristretto, flat white, latte, whatever I've essentially chosen as my second most popular screen. If I want to go into the programming mode, literally the bottom left button, which kind of sits next to your P for programming. And we have 6 screens. We're going to go through each one fairly quickly. First screen is our essential cleaning and maintenance screen, where I can clean the machine, I can tell the machine I'm going to do a descale, or I'm going to change the filter. Second screen is just to go through the rinse parts of the machine and some of the information settings. And the third one is where I can do pretty much most of my advanced settings. So I'm going to start with the expert mode. If I wanted to change the cup settings in terms of volume or in terms of strength, I go into my expert mode and I will choose whichever drink I want to change. So let's say I want to change my coffee. I'll cycle through to coffee and I'll press go. Now I'm left with essentially 3 things I can change for coffee. One, I can change the volume, so I can change how much essentially liquid to dispense. This is how big or small my cup is. I'm going to say, okay, my cup's a little bit bigger. I'm going to say it's 135 mils. I'm going to save that setting and that's saved in. Okay. Next thing I can change is my coffee strength, and I have 8 strength settings. So denoted by different beans. I can pump it up and put it all the way to super strength on 8 beans, or I can go super low and go to 1 bean if I want super weak. But we're not going to go super weak. We're going to go middle of the road at 4 beans. And we're going to save that. And then the last setting is temperature. I really have 2 options to choose. I can either go normal or hot. So why would I go normal? There are some people, for some reason, that want a kind of tepid coffee. We're going to go for hot coffee. And that's saved. Let's go back to my third screen of my programming. To go through some other key features, I have a new feature on the Jura machine, which is called once-off settings. Now, a nice thing you've always been able to do in Jura machines is that if someone wants to have a super weak coffee and the preset amount is on a medium strength coffee, they can change it between the cup without affecting the standard settings of the machine. So, as an example, the machine is set on 4 beans for coffee. If I come to the machine and say, okay, cool, I'm actually going to do it so we can see. I come to the machine and say, that's great, I don't like strong coffee, I want to make it super weak coffee, which is not true, but let's just say that was. I would make a cup of coffee and it shows me 4 beans. While it's grinding, I've actually changed it to make it a super weak coffee and put it on a strength of 2 beans. And the good thing is that that will not affect the next drinker. The next drinker will come to the machine and they will have no idea what's happened, what I've done, and the machine automatically will go back to 4 grams, which is the preset amount, which is great. Everyone can have exactly the coffee drink however customized they want it to be without changing it for everyone. So I'm just going to stop it there for a second. So a new feature which the WE8 has, which other machines really haven't had up to now, potentially you have an environment where you don't want your people to be able to do that. Maybe you want to kind of conserve how much coffee you're going through and your staff is potentially pumping it up on the strongest coffee, and you said, that's cool, I'm happy to get a coffee machine, but I don't want them to go through tons of coffee, and I'm only willing to set the machine on a medium strength. Right? Then you can say once-off settings. We want to lock the once-off settings so that people can't have that ability to change the strength between cups. That's essentially why your once-off settings are there. Other new feature which is incredibly valuable if this machine is placed in a reception area or a customer service area or any area where people are not familiar with the machine is a lock function. And what a lock function essentially means, sorry, let's go back to the front screen, is that if I want to make a cup of coffee and I want to set my machine and I don't want to go into expert mode, there's too much hassle for me, I don't want to press programming button, what I can do on a Jura machine, I can press and hold any button and keep it held in, right? Because I'm holding it, the machine will recognize that I'm actually trying to change the volume of the cup, right? And by doing that, I'm actually resetting the cup size. Now what you can get, unfortunately, is new users to the machine can by mistake do that, and they can keep changing the cup size and essentially keep messing with your volumes. So what you're now able to do in the W8, you can essentially lock that ability. So people cannot reset the machine by pressing holding a button, and they have to go into the expert mode to prevent first-time users from making that potential mistake. Going through the other features, which are pretty much standard, you have your language features, your units where you want it in mils, in ounces, whatever the case is, and you have your water hardness, which essentially means how hard or soft your water is in terms of how often or how seldom you've got to change your filter. Last screen is essentially your counter options, which is really interesting if you are particularly interested in how much volume is going through your machine. Maybe you have a restaurant or maybe you have a canteen and you're not there constantly and you want to monitor that the money, for example, from your sold coffee matches what the machine's made. You can go into your day counters, how many drinks it's made. So for example, today it's made 13 cups and it shows me a breakdown of exactly which cups it has made. So it's made 1 2 ristrettis, it's made 5 coffees, and so on and so on. And then it's got my all-time counter as well. I can delete the day counter, which I'm going to say no for now. And that is a deep dive into our programming mode on the W8.